you want to naturally be busy with your life is one way to ignore her, not be texting her every day, because of course there's a such thing as giving a girl too much attention and too much interest. Hey guys, Hector Castillo Poppy from girlschase.com here for part number 2 of Do Girls Like When You Ignore Them? In part number 1, if you haven't watched it, check the description below and go watch part number 1. In that video, I explained to you that yes, women like when you ignore them, but you have to do it with the right attitude and at the right time because you want it to be a fun thing that you're doing and a way of leaving a little bit more left to taste, but not in a way where you're putting up a wall because it might make her play that game back and it's just not a lot of fun. So we want to make sure with these examples that I'm going to give you, different situations to ignore a girl and how to do it, remember to have the right mentality behind it. And when you have the right mentality behind it, it will come off better and not have the negatives that come with when a lot of guys are trying to ignore girls. So let's go over when you ignore a girl before you even met her. You're in a social circle situation, you're at a bar or a club, or even day game when you're walking around and you want to somehow get her attention. So before you meet a girl, one way to ignore her and to get her attention is when you see a girl and you recognize that she's beautiful, what you want to do is try and see if she can make eye contact first before you make eye contact. Now you can hover around, like place yourself close to her. She might place herself close to you, which is a sign of interest. You're at a party and you're talking to friends and you see a girl that's beautiful. And of course you don't just immediately go up and say, hey, what's up? You wanna fuck? You allow her to ingratiate herself into the conversation that you're talking in, or find her way close to you at the party or the bar or the club. And so you don't do it, again, remember, with like the forced, oh, I'm totally ignoring you. You want to be in your own world. You could be spacing out, you could be thinking about anything. It could be your passion, it could be, you know, a chapter in a book you want to write, a business idea that you have. You could be on your phone texting other girls. Do something. Have something to occupy your mind, or you could even be doing like some sort of like meditation where you're just kind of relaxing and you're just breathing. Do something that is light and you're not purposely thinking, I'm gonna ignore you, I'm gonna ignore you, because that energy somehow is going to be transposed and she might be able to feel it. One of the best ways to have the attention of women and catch their attention is to be not looking for them in the first place. Of course, it's a paradox because you have to be aware of them. So you're walking around town, you're walking around the party, you're talking to friends, wherever it is. You recognize her, but then you allow her to make that first move, even if it's just the eye contact. Now, she's not going to make the move usually to approach you. In a social circle party situation, it's much easier because you're in a conversation. She can make a comment towards you. There, she can make the first move. And I would advise, actually, that's a good time for her to make the first move. But if you're at a bar or a club, she might make the first move, probably not. Day game, almost definitely not. So allow her to first make the eye contact or start to show signs of interest. Then you have to make the approach. But you gained that interest in the beginning by purposefully not looking at her so much, checking her out so much, and giving her that space to do her dance. And it just make sure you don't come off too creepy or you're hovering around her. So that's how you do it before you meet her. It's about the body language game and the eye contact game. Now, once you're actually, and there's one little trick that you can do before I forget. You can actually get her to approach you first. So when you see a girl, once you make eye contact, you can look at her, hold eye contact, you do see each other, there's interest, and you smile, and then look away, and make sure it's very slow. It's not like it's a very slow, lingering eye contact and a smile, and then you go off. Now this could just end up with you, I'm a cool guy, she likes me, and then you walk off and you never talk to her again, right? It could end up with her saying something. If she doesn't bite and actually bring herself closer to you, let's say you're waiting in line at the fucking post office and you look at her and you smile, and then all of a sudden, 1 minute later, she's kind of hovering around you, then you need to go, right? If it's a day game situation where you're walking past her, well, you're gonna have to turn around. But you got some little interest with that little ignore, one way to put it. Now, when you're already talking to her, how do you ignore her? Obviously, it's not gonna be a thing where you're talking to her and then you just randomly shut up and just look off and you're like, who are you? Right? It's not gonna work like that. It's gonna be much more subtle, and it's going to be much more either natural or playful. So the playful way that you can ignore a girl while you're having coffee with her or having a drink with her, talking to her at a party, whatever, you're talking to her and then you kind of just slowly let your attention linger or fade away, right? So it does linger a little bit and you're like, okay. And it's the end of a thread of conversation and you both look at each other and smile. And normally you're thinking, okay, what do I say next? Well, what you can do is you can kind of just, so you were talking, you made eye contact, you laughed, oh yeah, okay, cool, yeah. It was a good movie. And then, boom. It's not too sudden, because if it's too sudden, you're just like, it's too obvious. And it'll come off very hurtful. Imagine if you're talking to a girl and then she just immediately is like, yeah, okay, yeah. It feels very hurtful and you don't want to do that to her. Because then, it might make her feel you're not interested, or she'll piss her off and she'll fuck off, or it'll piss her off and then she's gonna go cold and the conversation will just die. Or what it can do is you can do it in a playful way where you're ignoring her in words, where you're not talking to her anymore, but you smile and then you kind of go off. Kind of like with the opener, is you look at her and you smile and then you look away. Now what you can do is literally ignoring her. And remember, it's giving her space, it's not ignoring her. It could be just for a second. You just smile, okay? See that? I love doing that where I don't know what to say next. I'll think of something, I got some fucking OCD and I'll just be like, oh, there's a squirrel. So I'll look over at the squirrel and then I'll remember I'm on a date with a girl and then I'll just go. Or when I'm doing it very purposefully and I'm playing the game where I'll ignore her and then I'll look at her, I'll smile, I'll look away, I'll look back. It's really cute. And usually when I do that, girls will be like, what? What are you looking at? And sometimes I'll turn it from ignoring so it'll take off the pressure. Then I'll just really put it on and I'll look back and then I'll just stare at her. Now, of course, if you do this wrong, you're just like, right? It's obvious playful. I'm looking away, then, okay, it's kind of getting awkward. Smile. What? Nothing. Look away. So what were you saying? And then she starts going after you, right? It's playful. I'm having fun. I'm not doing it in a dick way. I'm not pissing her off. So that's how you play the in and out, push, pull, give attention, ignore a girl in a lighthearted, fun way or a casual way where you just let your mind wander, but it doesn't seem sudden or cold. Now, when you're in a situation, you could be sleeping with her, you could not be, you guys are still going on dates, it could be your girlfriend. You want to naturally be busy with your life is one way to ignore her, not be texting her every day, because of course there's a such thing as giving a girl too much attention and too much interest. With a girlfriend, it's very hard to cross that line unless you're really being bad. But you do want to be busy and you want to be not too focused on her. So one way that you can do it is to naturally be busy because you are in the best situation, best case scenario, you're on your grind, you're on your mission, everyone's on about that now. You're chasing your passion, you're working on a side business, you're working on a book, I don't know, you're practicing languages, you're at the gym, whatever. You're doing shit. Good. You're busy and it's naturally gonna make you ignore her because you're gonna be busy. And allow yourself to have that time where you don't text her. When I'm at the gym or when I'm doing certain things, I want to be 100% there. I don't want to have my phone always with me. That's just a good life advice as well. It's good for focus and it's good for mental health, right? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be something important though. You could just be playing video games. You could just be, doing something, sitting around. There's nothing wrong with that as well. What you want to maybe avoid, because this used to be my tactic, is I used to purposefully try not to be too into girls because I'm very passionate. So I would have a girl that I really like, and I'd send a text, and I wouldn't hear back for an hour, and I'm like, fuck, did I text the wrong thing? Am I being needy? And I would come up with all sorts of tactics. Like, I would like delete the conversation, I would put my phone in airplane mode or fucking turn it off, and I'd throw my phone across the room, and I would just like, all right, I'm not gonna look at my phone for another day, right? Now, sometimes this was fucking retarded because I would do it, and then I would like talk to a girl and be flirting with her, and then, you know, let's say we were sleeping together, but I'm kind of falling for her, and I need to fucking relax my shit. So I'd throw my phone, and then, you know, I'd go off, and the next day I open it, and like she texts me, and she asked me like what I'm doing tonight, or asked me if I want to hang, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I just like lost a chance. It's kind of like ignoring a girl before you meet her, and then you just don't meet her. At least I'm talking to this girl and already slept with her, but fuck, you know, I lost some pussy for tonight. So, you know, try not to do these stupid tactics, because what ends up happening is that it usually does the opposite. When you force yourself so much to abstain from something, it's actually going to be helping the addiction or strengthening the addiction, because you spend so much time fighting it that it ends up being so powerful in your mind and on your heart. When it comes to neediness in girls, because this is going to be the hard part for guys who are very passionate, you are gonna have to confront your neediness at some point. But as a small day-to-day tactic when you're ignoring girls, not to get too philosophical, just busy yourself with something. Doesn't have to be something important, it could be just something like playing video games, but busy yourself with something. Or what you can do in a lighter way than deleting the conversation and, you know, throwing your phone across the room and declaring that if she doesn't text you first the next time, because you feel like you're chasing, well, you deleted her number and you're never gonna talk to her again. Instead of those very extreme tactics that I used to do, what you can do is just tell yourself, okay, I'm not gonna go on my phone for the next 2 hours or the next hour, and just train yourself to not be so glued to your phone. This is for the guys who are very passionate or who wanna work on not chasing them so much. So it's not super toxic, but you are kind of disciplining yourself to ignore her at certain parts of the seduction and the relationship in your dating. You're doing it for your own good, and you're doing it for her good, because remember, when she feels like there's an absence, you're not neglecting, it's not neglectful, it's just leaving space for their seduction. And this is going to allow her to have time to think about you, and to have time to wonder about you, and to lust after you, and crave after you. And this is going to make you more attractive in her eyes and get what you want, which is more attention and affection and love and sex. But it's also going to make her enjoy you more, because in her mind and your heart, you're something that she's longing after. And we want girls to long after us. We want to give them that which they crave, but we also want the craving to be there in the first place. And you can really create a lot of craving when you give little tastes and then hold it back just a little bit. Playfully, mindfully, and purposefully, or sometimes just as a consequence of you living your life, but we hold back a little bit of the delicacy that is you, and then allow their mouth to water and then want to taste more. And then, of course, you give it back to them. Because whether it's before you meet her, while you're talking to her, or while you're already seeing her and you don't want to text her too much, pulling back is nice, but if you do it too much and you get too addicted, this is going to happen, is once you learn how to use this kind of power, you're going to get addicted to girls being ignored by you and then wanting to chase after you, that you're going to overdo it. And then once they start pulling back, you start chasing, and it makes it really unattractive because you have two extremes, and they start to believe and maybe know that you were doing it on purpose. So we don't want to create that situation. So don't get addicted to that power of them chasing after it. Use it sparingly and use it in the right moments. And you'll learn those moments when, of course, you're learning the art of seduction by practicing when to give her space and when not to give her space. Okay, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now we know how to ignore girls and have them chase after us, and how much to do it and when to do it. Cool. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you very soon. Ciao.